All right, it's late September 1861, and our Virginia campaign is still beginning to formulate. At this point, with Hamilton back in Frederick and an entrenched Hooker force, it looks like the Union is at least safe for the moment. There's actually a lot of men there, even though the power is only 601. I think Hamilton, was able to leave with about 10,000, or about half of the force that he started with when he first attacked Harper's Ferry, and they will, of course, recover over time. At this point, Jackson will be promoted to a 3-star and will continue to hold the defenses of Harper's Ferry. Meanwhile, Johnston's Army of the Shenandoah is going to move over into Sumner's, and basically just one region east of Morgantown. What we're going to do here is I'm going to send the majority of the force to assault Parkersburg, and I'm hoping that basically 6 regiments and 2 batteries will be enough. Meanwhile, the Virginia Volunteer Cavalry will be returning to join Smith's force, who will remain on hold at all costs. This does have a battery, so we'll keep some artillery there. There's quite a bit of supply over here, so I'm kind of moving the supply unit over so we can grab some of this before heading back over to Clarksburg. What we want to do is push Keyes out and take over this strategic city. It's actually, this is, of course there is Wheeling up here, which is also part of Virginia currently. But since this is on one continuous railroad, we have a better chance of actually being able to maintain and hold this. McDowell is sitting tight, so not really sure what the plan is right now. Haven't seen any sort of assaults from the sea yet, so we're beginning to put up some more significant defense, of course, here in Norfolk and Suffolk. And Magruder also has a battery now as well. The plan in Kentucky is that the majority of the forces are actually going to move up into Meade, and Johnston is going to join them. At this point, it's probably not really realistic that we're going to be able to take Louisville, but I want us to be able to have control over this complete area. So you can see actually they're still continuing control here, and just north of Fort Henry as well. Meanwhile, we're continuing to entrench in Paducah and Columbus, and I'm sending a cavalry unit to get the rest of the control of Graves, Kentucky here. Out west, basically Shelby's troopers are quite tired, so they're just going to recover, and we have enough supply for about 2 turns. So not a whole lot. Looks like everyone here is at this point. So these guys actually do have supplies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them down 1 so we can begin to basically have a military control zone from Springfield on up. So those are kind of the highlights of what's basically going to happen. The other big thing is we have a number of generals that are kind of, basically they're going to be taking up their respective positions. So let me just find them. They're kind of going all over. I'm sending Hinman down to Galveston. Hardy is going to Paducah. Van Doren's going to join McCulloch in Springfield. Murray's going to eastern Arizona. This unit here is going to attack that Union unit. In addition, Bragg will be going to Fort Henry, and Anderson will be going to New Orleans. So basically, getting the generals in place. As far as what is we're building, as you can see, it's starting to fill out even more here. Basically, we have kind of brigades having all over Virginia, Tennessee, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, Texas, a couple support units in Texas and Tennessee, a couple of HQ, the general units in Tennessee and Virginia as well. We got a brigade in Arkansas. We did build our first purchased ironclad in New Orleans. Okay, so those are the highlights. So let's run the turn and see what happens. Okay, mostly a good turn. Let's kind of start with the negative. It looks like we lost a. We may have lost a brig, which would be disappointing. So we can focus on the message on, see if we can find a message on that. Okay, so what's the big news is, of course, we were able to take Parkersburg. I said of course, but it wasn't guaranteed. The Union could have sent in a force. As you can see, it was actually relatively easily. We took it relatively easily. The bad news is there's actually new supply here, and I was hoping there would be something, since this is a size 2 city. There's only 9 supply. They do make 14 per turn, so that is good news. The challenge, though, now is actually we're going to need to figure out a way to hold Parkersburg and continue to hold Clarksburg, while at the same time I need to get the supply back up to Clarksburg and consider if we want to attack Key's force here or not. It may make, they have a lot of supply. They're obviously entrenched to the max at this point, which would be entrenchment level of 3. So I'll have to consider that. So didn't really see a whole lot of other movement other than basically Hamilton's gone to DC to recover, and McClellan is now in control of the force in Frederick. You can see Jackson's army is also recovered and is now at 703 power. Jackson is now a 3-star general, so we'll take a look if it makes sense to go ahead and create an army with Jackson. Yeah, that seems like a weird. I don't know what is going on. Looks like our Laurel Brigade ended up in. I guess they're just slowly on the way to Winchester. I didn't really see any other movement, so Johnston, as you can see, is now Albertine Johnston has now arrived in Meade, and here's Milroy's detachment. We now have generals in Paducah and Columbus, as Hardee has taken over the forces here. Out in Kansas, the Union did, of course, move into Leavenworth, which makes sense, since that is an objective city. Meanwhile, our forces are recovered, and we basically have enough supply for about one more turn and a little more. So we have to make a decision if we want to move on a fort or fall back to Springfield. It might make sense to simply just try to take some of the forts here and establish control here. Didn't really see anything happening out west. Our infantry brigade has actually arrived in eastern Arizona, and the artillery battery is on the way. Well, right, it looks like in about 11 days now, according to that. So a little bit of movement there, not a whole lot. Okay, so let's just take a look at the messages. The United States is developing several territories. We're still doing our demonstrations. The Virginia is nearly complete. Here was the simple battle that we won at Parkersburg. No losses on our part, looks like, so they simply surrendered once we started the assault. So here we go. We have ironworks that are finished in Henrico and New Orleans, so that is encouraging. So hopefully that can get us enough war supply. We're actually able to build some ironclads on a more regular basis. We did lose the Sumter, and what's his name was in that, so I wonder if he's actually been killed. Yeah, so that may be quite a heavy loss if we lost one of our admirals. We may now form divisions. Of course, that means that the Union also will be forming divisions. And looks like Wadi has arrived. As we now have our alliance with the Native Americans. Okay, so I think we're in a pretty good situation. I think the big decision next turn will be if we're going to move on Key's force here and here in Morgantown or not. It has a depot. As you can see, we don't actually have a depot in this part of the state. So we would actually be getting the depot, which would be a huge benefit, and grab those supplies. It looks like, so I don't know if they have how many artillery batteries they have. It looks like they have 2 separate. I don't think those brigades have artillery with them. They might. Can't actually remember at this point. Okay, so a pretty eventful turn, and Grant has also arrived. Oh, actually, so here was one other move. Buchanan came up with the Manassas and the gunboats and has pushed out the Mississippi fleet. Looks like they either chose to go back to Cairo or were forced back there. So that's good. Okay, see you next time.